Welcome to another content roundup, a video where I give my reaction to fitness videos on the internet.
I can't believe I'm watching Simia Panda squat so poorly. I'm going to show you real quick what he's doing wrong. Do not take a bunch of baby steps. One step out with each leg and that's it. Do not let your elbows fall forward, then your chest is going to collapse. The tempo he squats at is way too fast. He's bouncing out of the hole, and also he's going way too deep. When you go that deep, your chest is automatically going to pitch forward and put all the pressure in your lower back. And lastly, his mechanics suck when he stands up. He's not using his legs and hips.
I have a hard time knowing whether this is satire or whether he's being serious. This dude is clearly freaky strong. I mean, he's squatting 5 plates. So
I'm going to show you real quick what he's doing wrong. Do not take a bunch of baby steps.
You can take as many steps as you want until you feel stable and balanced. I would obviously agree that less steps is better, but like if you step one step back and then another step back and you don't feel quite set or balanced, or maybe you need to take your stance like a little bit wider, I would make that adjustment, especially at this type of weight. Like I am really big on when I step out of the rack, I want to be able to feel especially my big toe and my full foot into the ground. So if you need to like adjust your stance for a second and really get set before you start to lower that squat down and descend into the hole, like do that.
Steps. One step out with each leg and that's it. Do not let your elbows fall forward, then your chest is going to collapse.
So I do agree. I'd like to keep the elbow in line with the back, but like just because your elbows go forward doesn't mean your chest is going to collapse. You have a lot more, like you can stay a lot tighter if you keep your elbows back, and you can kind of recruit a lot more of your back. This dude is doing a high bar back squat. So I would say it'd be more optimal for him to keep his elbows a little bit more back, but still, this is a really good looking squat.
The tempo he squats at is way too fast.
That's incorrect. This tempo is beautiful. He guides it down, he catches a nice little bounce in the bottom and blasts up. And the bounce he's using is not like, he's just using the stretch shortening cycle in the bottom of the squat. He's not like bouncing his way out of the hole, especially with this type of weight. Like you need to use that elasticity out of the bottom.
He's bouncing out of the hole, and also he's going way too deep.
Yeah, so that's not a problem. Like, and the fact that he is going that deep is super impressive. Full range of motion, right? The deeper you go, the longer the muscle stretches. So the more use he's getting out of that muscle, especially if you're a bodybuilder. You know, like there's a big debate on full range of motion versus partials, and I'm not an exercise scientist by any means, but I'm a huge believer that for overall health of your squat, and especially in your knees, full range is always better.
When you go that deep, your chest is automatically going to pitch forward and put all the pressure in your lower back.
That's not true at all. Like the depth that you go doesn't determine how your chest pitches forward. And just because your chest pitches forward, it doesn't mean that the pressure is going into your low back. Usually it's going into your hips more than anything if your hips shoot too far behind the bar on the way up. But keeping your chest tall and sitting deep in a squat, like you usually have better leverage over the weight in those positions.
And lastly, his mechanics suck when he stands up. He's not using his legs and hips.
Not at all. Like if you look at his feet, he's solid. I feel like he's just searching for clout on the internet. A lot of these comments, Kyle Bruce, like this dude is an Olympian. Squats look pretty good. Perfect squat, pointless post. Yeah, this is dumb.
CrossFitters are training with way too much variety. Way too much variety. If you are a quarterfinal athlete, why are you skiing? Why are you swimming? Why are you training for a 5K? Do your hard sessions in your highest priority modality. The fewer modalities that you have to be good at, the less you have to dose intensity. The more modalities you have to be good at, that actually gives you a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of license to dose intensity a little bit more, because you're doing modalities with different biomechanics that use different muscle groups. But if you're a quarterfinal athlete, you don't have to be good at skiing. You don't have to be good at running at all. The only cyclical modalities that matter for you are biking and rowing. Period. End of list. The same exact people who say to me, I think it's my running that's really holding me back from getting to the next level. I'm like, have you been to a semifinal? No, it's not your running. I promise you, it is not your running that is holding you back. You don't even get tested in it. Okay, you had shuttle runs one time in the quarterfinals. It's such a small percentage of the testing body. Go look at the 5K times from the games last year. I'm like, what's your 5K time? It's like better than the bottom third of the games field. It's like, dude, it's not your running. Look at all these guys who qualified for the games who you are faster than. They just snatched like 340. Oh, geez. Man, I'm enjoying this one. I hope you guys are.
So there's some validity in what he's saying. Like, is there a use for swimming, for you to practice swimming? Not really, but like, to get better at CrossFit, you need to practice everything. Like, you need to be well-rounded. And saying that there's no value in putting ski erg in your training, I think is a poor take. Skiing is fantastic. And like, it's not just like, are you practicing being good at skiing? It is just, metabolic conditioning overall, and doing more variance can keep your training more fun, and it can keep you engaged with it longer. If you are always in the gym doing burpees and thrusters and box jumps and pull-ups, like getting out and doing a swim workout, going to the pool, doing some swimming with push-ups, or taking some dumbbells to a pool and, doing some dumbbell snatches and swimming, like changing it up, challenging your body in that way can really help you develop overall in your fitness, which, like, sure, is it being tested? No, not for most CrossFitters most of the time. But like saying there's no value in ski erg or saying there's no value in running. I ran a marathon this past year, and I can tell you it is quite challenging in a very different way than a typical Metcon is. So just saying like, oh, well, you're not going to be tested outside of a 20-minute Metcon, that does not mean that there is not value in training for 3 hours of running straight. Running, in my opinion, is like the hardest possible monostructural conditioning thing you can do, because you have to physically move your body forward through space. When you get tired on a bike or on a rower, like, you can just kind of slow your pace. But when you're out running, especially on a trail, if you run out 5 miles and you're tired, like, it sucks to suck. You have to run back. And the longer it takes you, the worse and worse it gets. And there is, I have so much respect for the endurance community after running a marathon this past year and just training for it. Like, I much prefer CrossFit workouts, but there is so much value in having a broad variety in your training. And something like a ski erg, like he said, the ski erg is not valuable to add to your training. I completely disagree, because if you pair ski next to something, handstand walk, anything shoulder overhead, anything that uses your upper body, ski erg and pull up, like, you are asking for double the challenge on whatever the other movement is, because it's already, super fatiguing for your midline. Ski erg GHD setup. I mean, you could also say, hey, you're not tested in GHD setups until you get to the semifinals of the games. Sure, how many competitions do you go to that have GHD setups in them? Not a lot, but it doesn't make it not a valuable training tool. GHD is probably the most potent of all of the midline things that you could do. So I sort of agree with what he's saying, but I don't like the way he's presenting it. I think it's incorrect in its presentation. Okay, so yes, you need to bound higher to do triples and doubles, but if you listen to his taps, he's doing 1, 2, 3, 4, so that doesn't make sense. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, doubles with high jump and slower row speed. This is actually a fantastic drill to work on your double unders. Slow, long double unders, great drill. So I hate this. Hold the ends of the handles. Holding the end of the handle, I think, is a really bad habit to get into. You want to develop the ability to rotate your wrist And if you're holding the end of the handle, typically people are just rotating the handle about their hand. And I see this when people do double unders too. They're not actually in control of the rope as it rotates. And it's just a bad habit to get into. So I don't love this cue. Maybe that's what helps him do triple unders, but I feel like you're lacking the ability to really control the rope. It's crazy. Dude is crazy. Yes, rotator cuff day. Dude is crazy. That is awesome. Squat University, I think, just made a video about this guy. He called it a Seppo snatch, I think. So this guy is the first guy that I've seen doing this. If you've ever tried to do like a PVC pass through that's weighted, that is like extremely challenging. It's really tough on the shoulders. It is, a great way to build healthy, strong shoulders for sure. Doing this, I don't think is necessarily like, is it smart? For most people, they can't even get into a position to do this. This guy clearly practices this. Is it bad? Not really. Is it valuable? Not really. So like, I just think there's so much more there's so much better things you could be doing in the gym instead of this. When he goes back from the back position, like he's very much like rocking through his feet and on his toes. 50 kilos for 6, so it's 110 pounds. It's a lot to be doing that with it. So it's impressive. Is it useful? I don't think so. But it's cool on the internet. Look at that beautiful bottom position. Super tall. Like, look at his hamstrings too. God. This is Shane Hunt. So impressive. The SOTS press is hard, especially at this weight. 225 for 5. Overhead press is hard. Behind the neck press is even harder. SOTS press is crazy with that weight. But like the SOTS press is more an expression of hip mobility. So like this dude, that is such a beautiful position down there. I am envious of that bottom position. And then he lowers it down into the most beautiful front rack ever. This is crazy. So this guy's a power lifter, and I've seen some huge squats, benches, and deadlifts from him. But like, to be that raw strong in the squat, bench, deadlift, and then also be able to do that is very impressive. So that's all the time that I have for today to spend on fitness content on the internet. If there are videos that you find on the internet that you want me to react to, please send them my way. If you are looking to get better at CrossFit, you want to get to RX, you're a beginner, join Technique Team. You can work with me, use my systems, all of my programs, everything is on there. Join my community. It's a great place, and I'll leave a link in the description where you can learn more about Technique Team. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.